Hey everybody, just this is a special live stream. It's not going to be a long one, but it concerns a conference call I got off of that was hosted by the White House about an hour ago. And it was shocking. It was scary. It was very scary for me I'm delighted to be part of it. Don't misunderstand me, okay? But wow, it was really jarring what I heard. It featured White House senior staff. It was to start at 4:30, but it really didn't start. Hey, how are you doing? It really didn't start until 4:45. There were 151 media reps on it, and myself included, and it was in a room, but there was also a conference call. Okay, there were two senior White House staffers. One of them, the president's international policy representative, and what came out of his mouth just shocked me. I'll cut to the chase. The senior staffers for President Trump, this wasn't on television. They referred to the Paris Agreement as the Obama Agreement four times. And I kept thinking, why is it that they're doing that? I'm going to the watch page right now. I thought, why do they keep doing that? And I couldn't fathom what was going on with what they were doing, okay? So finally, I've read the Paris Agreement before, and I thought, is there something that I missed? Is there something that I didn't scan efficiently? I thought, what did I miss? So I kept going back over it. I went back over the Durban Agreement, because the Durban Agreement goes back to 1994. All right? Hey, how you doing? The Durban Agreement goes back to 1994. Hey, Barry, how you doing? And the Durban Agreement is the basis for the Paris Accords, okay? No, Accords with an S. And I kept looking for anything that ties it directly to not just President Obama, but any particular U.S. president. And there's nothing. Now, the document itself says from the president, all right? What that means is, since it's from the United Nations, it means the president of the UN, not the president of the United States. So what I've concluded is that the Trump administration has mistook the Paris Agreements, which they really didn't read in full, as coming from President Obama. Hence, why they would keep using his name as president. That's the most disastrous finding of all. Within that, anybody who's read the Paris Agreements knows that it's based on the Durban Agreement, which was ratified in 2011, which was originally created in 1994, which involves 196 countries. 196, of which we're one. Does not call us to pay into it anything at this point. That hasn't happened. It is a constantly in flux document, always changing. It can only change by negotiation. So to present it as if, hold on a second, to present it, pay attention to this, Barry, because that's a little different. To present the accord as if it's this monolithic, unchanging document, as opposed to a document that calls for or allows for negotiations at various points, many points, is to mischaracterize the situation. And that's precisely what President Trump has done. What I've concluded is that President Trump, overall, is on some sort of mission to destroy what he perceives as the Obama legacy. It has nothing to do with any real belief in efficient and smooth running business or unleashing the creative ability of the United States, which is always there. It's got nothing to do with that. It's for the very parochial desire of undoing the Obama legacy, which is going to, his view talking about President Trump's objective is going to screw us all in the end because he has no idea why President Obama's actions are there. Okay? And yet his dislike for Obama is so great that it goes beyond reason. Because no reasonable person would, no knowledgeable person, I don't care what party you're from, would make the mistake of saying, oh, this is the Obama agreement. Because any knowledgeable person actually bothered to read the dang on thing. All right? Now, there are some people who say, I don't have time to read it. Like my mom says, I don't have time to read it. Tell me what you know. You're on the White House press list. Fine, okay? That's why I take it upon myself to read documents. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is, it's called the draft decision, all right? And this goes back to, I'll go ad hoc working. Oh, this one, and then there's, let's see here, that one, and there's this one. Yeah, this is the one that I want you to see. This is dated 12 December 2015, all right? Watch this. Okay, I'm going to switch over here. This is it. United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, all right? And then see the date? And it says Conference of the Parties. I'll move this up a little bit so you can see it, more. Conference of the Parties. Okay. 21st session, Paris, 30 November to 11 December 2015. It says agenda item 4B, Durban Platform for Enhanced Action, decision, adoption of protocol. And this says adoption of the Paris Agreement proposal by the president. All right. Now that's not President Obama, folks. That's the president of the United Nations. You understand what I'm getting at? You're not going to find an American document that says adoption of the Paris Agreement, President of the United States. I am ordering all of you around the world to accept this. But that's the way Trump has presented it. It's completely wrong. It is completely 1,000% wrong. So I wanted to share that with everybody. That's what I learned regarding this agreement. And this is not one of those streams where I expected a lot of people to watch or absorb, but I wanted to get this out in an efficient way. And the bottom line is that we should all be concerned about a president of the United States that is forming his or her policy based purely on what they didn't like about the previous administration. And if your comment is, well, isn't that what every president does? The answer is no. Because, and I give to you by example, President Obama's decision to maintain the employment of James Comey as FBI director. All right? He was a Bush appointee, Comey was. And I misspoke, excuse me. It's been a long day. The previous FBI director, who is now the special investigator, was the appointee. And for Bush, and then grandfathered into with Obama. All right? He was supposed to go out in 2011 and was allowed to remain on until 2013 when Comey took his place. But my point is that there was always a grandfathering of that person's position. That's also true for the defense secretary, among others. So Obama didn't play the game of, well, you were George W. Bush's appointee, so I'm not going to retain you at all. And so he didn't do that at all. There are a number of people who worked in the Obama administration who were holdovers who are holdovers from the previous administration. That's more common than you realize. Far more common, even with respect to Trump. All right. So, and even with respect to Trump. So, so basically, the idea is that there are people who are regarded as multi-political, multi-party specialists, and some of those multi-party specialists, like Jim Comey or Robert Mueller, who was the head of the FBI prior to Comey, who actually said to Obama, "Hey, I think Comey should be the next FBI director." All right, those are people who are multi-party. Their roles and their respect in Washington transcend party. That's common. But Trump is operating in a way that is very much out of that behavior. And it's not a matter of any real sense of, as he says, draining the swamp, all right? It's not draining the swamp, it's wrecking the Obama legacy. Hey, Dorn, how you doing? And Barry says, it's scary for me because I think the Russians want this. Ah, I see what Barry's saying. I apologize, Barry. Barry's saying, it's scary for me because I think the Russians want this and Trump complies because he's working with the Russians. Yeah, I don't know to what advantage the Russians gain from this. I mean, I'm not going to rule out, and I apologize for my earlier comment, I'm not going to rule out any possibility like that. You could very well be right. You could very well be right. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you because I've got to go back. I'll have a live stream on later about the NBA Finals, but I wanted to go back and share that with you all. Again, I intended this to be short, but I wanted to get this on the record that I have some deep concerns about the style of decision making and the raison d'etre behind decisions behind this president. And yet, he is the president of the United States, and I respect the integrity of the office and the man who is there, and I continue to have high hopes for that person. But I have deep, 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 deep concerns. Deep concerns for what he has done. And Castillo says that you want, at any rate, as I was saying, I have deep, deep concerns with that. I can't give you that information here. I'm sorry. So, but thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back later on the NBA Finals. Okay, stay tuned and please subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube. Thanks a lot. See you.